So, great introduction. Because he actually made me sound pretty important, right? It's funny. When I came out and Renita invited me out to speak at this event, I was kind of nervous, but very, very excited at the same time, right? So I sit in this grand presentation. It had all these bells and whistles on it. It had all these statistics all out there. It was one of a kind, I promise you. And I sent that presentation over to Renita, and immediately she was like, I think this is a little too much for this event. Now, I tell you this for a reason, because I think it was a blessing in disguise. Because what I realized was, it allowed me to come out of coach mode and step into what my purpose and my passion really is. And that's to talk about something that I'm very passionate about, and that's this fact, that happily married couples are an inspiration. Happily married couples are an inspiration. But the key word here is happy. Happily married couples. Now, before I go, I want to tell you a little bit about my journey towards marriage. A few years ago, I know I look like I'm 12, but I promise you I'm married. I promise you I'm married. Now, when I was thinking about proposing to my then girlfriend, there was nothing really positive being said about this idea of marriage. So I heard things like this. I would say, I'm thinking about proposing to my girlfriend. Everybody would look at me and they would say, you sure you want to do that? How about this one? They would say, you sure you're ready for that? And the infamous one that we all kind of, maybe even if some of you have been guilty of it, they look at you and say, good luck. And so, it wasn't until one day, I happened to be in the gym. And I saw this couple in the gym. Now I'll introduce you to them. Looks like we got a little slide problem. But their name was Neil and Joanne. There we go. Looks like somebody disconnected it there. That's neither here nor there. Their name was Neil and Joanne. So they would be in the gym every single day, working out together, smiling, looking like they were having a good time. This is in the gym now. And so Neil and Joanne were the exact opposite of what everybody else told me about marriage. This is Neil and Joanne right here, guys. There you go. There's Neil and Joanne. And so they just seemed so happy. And so I befriended Neil at the gym. Because for some reason I couldn't figure out why this 50-something-year-old man was making us look like scrubs on the basketball court. So I made him my friend. And so we used to go to breakfast together, Neil and I. And I sat down one day and I mentioned to him that I wanted to propose to my girlfriend. And for the first time ever in my life, he said something totally different than what anybody else had said about marriage. He said, that's a great idea. It'll be the best decision you ever made in your life. That's powerful. So I also kept talking a little bit longer. I said, don't you think I'm too young? Don't you think that there's so many more women out here? Why would I make this decision? And he looked me in my face and he said, son, it's bigger than you. He said, at some point in your life, you're going to have to choose the substance over the sex. And then I didn't quite know what he was talking about, but it was confirmation to me. And because of that reason, I ended up proposing to my wife who's here tonight. Her name is Spry. She's in the building tonight. Now, I'm a little bit upset with Neil because he didn't tell me about all the things I was going to have to give up in order to be married. Let me give you an example. He didn't tell me I was going to give up my plate when I got married. And some of you men out here, I see you right now, it's this idea that every time I get a plate, there's a little fork coming over there to get a little taste. Yeah. See, Neil didn't tell me I was going to have to give up my smells. Because see, as a bachelor, all I needed was incense and Febreze, and that was all I needed. Suddenly I got married, and all of a sudden I've got cucumber melon, vanilla, watermelon, I don't know, all these little blade plug-ins you always like to put up in the wall, all those things. He didn't tell me that. He also didn't tell me I was going to give up my hairbrush. Because for some reason, every time I go to brush my hair, there's a strand in it this long, and I don't know where it came from. Now, he also didn't tell me I was going to have to give up my idea of clean. For me, I never thought twice about making up a bed when I left in the morning because I'm going to get right back in it that next day anyway, right? Suddenly I get married, I got to make the bed. And last but not least, Neil didn't tell me that I was going to give up all my socks and all my t-shirts because I can't find not one except in her drawer. So those seem like very minute things, but my point is bigger. My point is this. We may have to give up a little bit, but we can choose to focus on the things we gained when we got married. Because see, I might have given up my plate, but I gained a best friend. You see, I might have given up my hairbrush, but I gained someone that promised to love me through thick and thin, through good or worse, rich or poor. And I might have given up my socks, but I gained unconditional love and companionship. Now, one of the reasons why what Neil said to me was so profound and so it was a confirmation for me was because he was a man. You see, as men, you expect women to kind of be happy about marriage, but you don't expect a lot of men to be happy. But it's my belief that the most powerful thing in the world is a man that knows how to love. That's my belief. But oftentimes as men, you hear my voice cracking? But oftentimes as men, we're taught how to do a lot of things in life, but we aren't necessarily taught how to love. And that became very evident to me when I was coaching one of my clients. And he was going back and forth with his girlfriend, and they could never seem to get along. And one day, he said, you know, Troy, I want to love her, but I just don't know how. And I thought to myself, that's why we need more couples like the ones in the audience tonight. It's because a lot of young men don't know how to love. And see, I'm not talking about that romantic love. I'm not talking about the Romeo and Juliet type of love. I'm talking about that action word, that verb idea of love. And there are a few things I think I can offer up that as men, as leaders of our households, how we can love our women a little bit better. I like to call it the M&M. Let's put this up here. So the first M stands for making telling you you love her a habit. You see, oftentimes when we're together for a long period of time, this idea of saying I love you becomes obsolete. But what we don't understand is saying I love you lets her know that you're engaged in a relationship and you're still there. So make telling you love her a habit. The second thing is notice her. That's what the N stands for. When I say notice her, I know this is a real thing because in the daytime, I'm a pharmaceutical representative. And so I go in and out of offices every single day, and a lot of my clients are nurses and female doctors, right? And so I make it a point to notice things about them. I notice when they change their hair. I notice when they change their glasses. I notice when they change something they're wearing. I notice everything about them. And oftentimes I'm met with this response when I notice things. They say, wow, my husband didn't even notice that. So when I say notice her, I mean that most of the things she does is for you. But you must notice those things and acknowledge those things. That's the action word, love. That's that verb I'm talking about. When I talk about the other M, I mean make her a priority. Now, me, I get it. I understand. I have a problem with this myself. Because we're taught that we need to provide. We're taught that we need to go out and work and have these extreme work ethics and make sure we bring all this money home. But sometimes, you got to make her a priority. So that means sometimes you got to close the computer down. And sometimes that means you got to come home a little bit early. And sometimes you got to forego that golf trip with the buddies because you need to make her a priority. Now, last time I checked, I hear the lady saying preach, but last time I checked, this whole marriage thing was a partnership, right? And it took two people, didn't it? So if I can, let me talk to the women a little bit. Because see, ladies, I get it, you're the queens of your households, and you have to keep it running. I get it. And there's so much on your plate, you work now, you do everything. But let me offer up the ABCs for the women. The number one thing I think you can do, and I want you to marinate on this for a second, is I think you can allow him to be vulnerable. Let's talk about that for a second. Because when I say allow him to be vulnerable, what I mean is this. As men, somewhere along the way, we were taught we weren't allowed to feel. And so because of that, I hear a lot of women clients, they come to me and they say, well, he doesn't tell me how he feels. He doesn't express any emotion. And so my first question all the time to that woman is this. Have you fostered an environment that makes it okay for him to feel? Well, let's think about that now. Have you fostered an environment that makes it okay for him to feel? What do I mean by that? What I mean is this. Can he come to you with his pain and with his sadness and with his hurt without fear of being judged for it? Can he come to you with his frustrations and his anger and not have the fear of it being thrown back in his face later on? That's what I mean by allowing him to be vulnerable. The B, it stands for, y'all hear me on this, be appreciative. When I say be appreciative, what I mean is we have this mindset now in relationships and even in marriages where we say, that's what he's supposed to do. Well, that may hold some credence because as your husband, maybe that is what he's obligated to do, and that's what he's supposed to do. But there's nothing wrong with saying thank you. There's not a thing wrong with saying, baby, I appreciate you. Because what you don't know is that little bit of appreciation, that's what keeps him going. That's what makes him want to keep doing it. So all I'm asking you to do is say, baby, I appreciate you. That's it. And the C stands for choose him. Choose him. Because see, I know you have children, and you gotta get them ready for school the next day. And I know you gotta clean up, and you gotta cook a little bit. There's a lot of things that's on your plate. And sometimes the last thing to get chosen is your husband. And so now you wonder why he's disconnected, and you wonder why y'all can't get along is because you haven't taken the time to choose him. So what I'm asking you to do is choose him. Now, let's talk a little bit about this word choose, because I keep using it, and I'm using it on purpose. I'm very intentional about the word choose, because see, I believe that happiness is a choice. We get to choose to be happy. And there's some things as couples that we can do together to make sure that we choose to be happy in our marriages. Y'all like that little graphic right there? That was one of those bells and whistles that I took out the first time. So how do we do this? How do we choose to be happy in our marriages? Number one, can we please remember that we get more bees with honey? So what I mean by that is this. Was it really that serious that he left that dish in the sink? In the grand scheme of things, was it really that serious that he left that dish in the sink? And was it really that serious, guys, that she went $2 or $20 over the budget that month? Was it really that serious in the grand scheme of things? Probably not. But see, if we just be nice and we choose to focus on the things that are happy in our marriages, then we'll be happy. Just smile and kiss. Now, we've all seen this couple before. And excuse me if I'm calling some of you out. You might not be this way tonight, but we've seen them. Well, the only way you know they're married is because they have on rings. They sit at the table, they don't say a word to each other. They don't hug, they don't kiss, they don't smile. All they do is look at each other. And so what I'm asking you to do is get back to smiling at each other and to get back to kissing each other. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's hard to be mad at somebody that you smile and kiss every day. You smile and you kiss every single day. It's a hard feat. And what you don't know is that it keeps you connected. Kissing keeps you connected. Touching keeps you connected. Smiling keeps you connected. That's part of choosing to be happy in your marriage. This is key. Don't wait until it's too late. When I say don't wait until it's too late, what I mean is this. How many times have you seen this? Baby, what's wrong? And her answer is, nothing. And 3 weeks later, what happens? For some reason, there's this big knockdown, drag-out fight about something that she was mad about 3 weeks ago. But she said nothing. And so now we waited until it was too late, and now we have this argument going on that's not choosing to be happy in our marriages. What we're choosing there is to be conflicting in our marriages. And finally, and I think this is the most important point, so I want you to hear me on this. I want you to get happy within yourself. Because see, if you're not happy within yourself, there's nothing she can do, there's nothing he can do that's going to make this marriage happy. So what that means is, if you're not happy with the way you look, change it. If you're not happy with your career, change it. Whatever you got to do, but your marriage needs you to be happy. And see, I know this to be true because it reminds me of a couple that I was coaching. And this couple was going at it. Guys, I swear they were going at it. Every time we got on a coaching session, it was a TKO. And for some reason, this next session came up and they were happy all of a sudden. And I said, this isn't right, something's not right. Tell me what's happening. And the young lady looked at me. And you know what she said? She said, Troy, I realized that I was trying too hard to be mad. Now hear me on that. She said, I was trying too hard to be mad, and because of that, I couldn't be happy. So now that couple, she changed her mindset, and because she changed her mindset, she's changing the outcome, and that couple's going to get married now. You see, the whole theme of this whole presentation and this whole celebration is building a strong foundation. It's my belief that building a strong foundation starts with the conscious choices we make every single day. So that's why we talked about this idea of sacrifice and choosing to focus on the things we gained and not the things that we gave up. That's why we talked about the M&M and telling you love her, I have it, and noticing her and making her a priority. And that's why we talked about the ABCs to the women. We talked about allowing him to be vulnerable. And we talked about this idea of choosing him and being appreciative. We talked about those things for a reason. But see, when I first got up on this stage, the one conviction I had was this. Happily married couples are an inspiration. They're an inspiration. But see, what I didn't tell you when I was talking about Neil and Joanne earlier, y'all remember the picture up there? What I didn't tell you about Neil and Joanne is this. The reason they were at that gym every single day was because that was part of her rehab because she had had a double lung transplant. She had been diagnosed with a rare form of rare lung disease, and they had to go to the gym daily to rehab. And so Joanne eventually died. Joanne died. Now, after Joanne's death, I talked to Neil a little bit more. And I said, well, you know, you seemed so happy even throughout that process. And he looked at me in my eyes and he said, I could never gain the level of happiness that she gave me. I could never. I can never give her the level of happiness that she gave me. And that's powerful. And the bottom line is this. It matters. Choosing to be happy in your marriage matters. See, because Neil decided to be happy in his marriage, I've decided that I'm going to be happy in my marriage. And guess what? Tonight I'm asking all of you to choose to be happy in your marriages. Because it matters. Thank you, and have a great night.
Come on, man. Y'all can do better than that. Give me a second round of applause.